said, no, you don't understand. It's gone.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks drifted through a quiet day of trading as Wall Street's momentum slowed following its big recent rally. The S&P 500 was essentially flat and is within 2.8% of its all-time high. The Dow slipped 0.2%, and the Nasdaq Composite rose 0.3%. The action was stronger in the bond market, where Treasury yields tumbled, following a pair of weaker-than-expected reports on the economy. The reports on the job market and output by U.S. service businesses raised expectations for coming cuts to interest rates by the Federal Reserve. The Dow was down 91 points to close at 42,247. The Nasdaq gained 61 to 19,460. The S&P 500 was up fractionally to 5970. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
The On-Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Showers while you sleep are likely. It'll be muggy. We'll have a low temperature of 69. Tomorrow, much like today, off and on showers, at least to start. We do clear out some in the afternoon. The high reaches 81. Friday looking better, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We're warmer. The high is 91. I'm Cal Moss with your On-Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make The Point radio.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And welcome in Sports Talk Media Network across the state of South Carolina. Welcome, welcome, welcome as we bring everybody across the state together for one purpose and one purpose only. That is to talk sports, because we are the sports think tank for the state of South Carolina. You need deep thoughts on sports. We are your deep thinkers. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber. He's really deep. He's got tools that will go really deep. That's why we call him the plumber. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. I hate to start off the program in a bad mood, but I'm in a bad mood, Bergie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What did Josh do now?
I hate to be that guy, that get off my lawn guy that complains about like everything, right? I think I've become that guy. I used not to be that guy. Oh, Josh is nodding. I used not to be that guy, but I've become that guy. You know, I'm kind of proud of, I wonder how many of our listeners are that guy. I bet you Tiger Bryan is that get off my lawn guy, you know? Andy's probably a get off my lawn guy. But today, Leo Delaney, offensive lineman, could play some guard. I got him as a tackle from Charlotte, committed to Clemson. No surprise there whatsoever. But here's the deal. So 24/7 Sports negotiated, got him to set up his announcement through them. Fine and dandy. That's the way it works. And they publicized his announcement 4 o'clock on their YouTube channel. Fine and dandy. No problemo. Jump online, 3:55, all ready to go. Wasn't until 4:33 that they brought him on. And they knew full well they weren't bringing him on until 4:33. They made us sit, if you wanted to sit through it, made us sit through 33 minutes of a show that they do, a college football show, 3 guys.
Oh, really?
I'm sure they're fine people, and I'm sure the show is fine. I'm sure it's very entertaining and educational. And, we had to hear them talk about Alabama, Vanderbilt, Oregon, Michigan, Clemson, a variety of different schools and their football programs for 33 minutes before we finally got around to why we were all there. Really ticked me off. I'm like, if you've got to suck people in to watch your show by teasing them with a commitment announcement, maybe you should improve your show and let it stand on its own merit. I mean, we created the live announcement here on Sports Talk going back, 25, 30 years. We were the first to do it. Did it with high school kids in South Carolina. Did it at Spring Valley. Did it at Richland Northeast. Did it up in the upstate. Did it at Burns. Did it over at T.L. Hanna, I believe. We did it all over the state. But when we said a kid was going to come on and make his announcement at a certain time, that's when we did it. Now, if there's a technical issue, if there's a snafu, if lines aren't working, I get that. But it was none of that. It was pure.
So they never mentioned during the broadcast, excuse me, that Leo Delaney was delayed for any reason.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Now, I caught them at the very top of the hour, 3:55, and they may have started their own little deal prior to that. They might have said at the very top, he's going to be on at 4:30. They never said that for the 30-something minutes that I listened. And, of course, people were in the chat box there like, where's the announcement?
Yeah, exactly.
We're here for the announcement. Where's it, et cetera. I got so frustrated I did something I never do. I did one of those ads. I added 247 Sports. I'm like, hey, dudes, can you please, if you got to suck us in to watch your show, maybe you need to take a look at your show and figure out why it can't stand on its own merits. We're there to get this kid's announcement and then go back to our day. So, anyway. Big pickup for Clemson. On to the more important stuff. Big pickup for Clemson. They are building one heck of an offensive line with this incoming crowd. That's 5 offensive line commitments for them, Bergie, and that's a good-looking group they've got put together.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's all you got? That's all your analytical studies?
Yes. In terms of recruiting, that's about all you're going to get out of me. Yes. It looks like a really good class if they hold it together and get those guys to sign and then show up and play.
Yeah. More on that coming up in recruiting. In fact, we'll let you hear what he had to say about why Clemson for him. Meantime, on the baseball front, a busy day in the transfer portal, John, on the baseball front. We talked about Amp Phillips from Upstate last night when he put out the word he was transferring. And I go back to the story that I told about a conversation I had with some media guys at Clemson after Upstate played Clemson, and he pitched really well. 6 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, I believe it was. Pitched really well against Clemson. And I said, man, the bad thing about a program like Upstate is when a guy like that performs at that level on this stage, you know that bigger schools are going to be looking and seeking if he has eligibility remaining, which he does. So anyway, he announced he's transferring to South Carolina today. A very nice pickup. He could be, I don't know, if things hold together for him, he stays healthy and performs well, he could be a Friday night starter for South Carolina. And then Clemson, not to be outdone, Clemson got a closer from Catawba. This guy has a big arm. Hayden Simerson, 6'3", 185. He was a D2 All-American this year. The 2024 Freshman of the Year in the SAC. At Catawba, career record of 6-6 with 25 saves, a 3.69 ERA, 156 strikeouts, and 136 in the third innings. Obviously a power guy, and you remember Eric Backett said after they lost the other day to Kentucky to eliminate themselves from the regional, they were going out and they're going to find some power arms. This sounds like a power arm.
You know, it's remarkable. And I was sitting there as you were talking about Upstate and thinking about what the coach at East Carolina said after the game against Florida, after the game against Coastal when they were eliminated.
Yep.
And Coach Godwin said, you know, our biggest thing is we've got a lot of young talent in this program, but the problem is they're probably already hearing from other schools as soon as we got done. And it really makes you appreciate what Kevin Snall and Gary Gilmore and the folks at Coastal have been able to do and build a team with 3 guys, especially in the pitching staff, that could probably start at virtually any other school in the country. And you think, and even with that, I sit there and watch and I look at what Tennessee is doing with Liam Doyle.
Yeah.
And Liam's a former pitcher at Coastal. I mean, how good could Coastal be with him on that staff now? But it's just remarkable, and it's somewhat amazing, but it's also somewhat disappointing when you look at a team like Upstate that just had an amazing season, and they're going to have all of their top players poached away from them, and now Coach Sweeney's going to have to go back and not only try and re-recruit the guys he's got left, but also go out and try and find players to fill the shoes of guys that moved up to bigger schools.
And, I mean, it's going to be the way of the world for these guys now.
It is.
They're going to live, if you're at that level, or even slightly above, I would say even like let's move up a little bit. Maybe Coastal not so much in that position, but then again, we've seen Coastal lose some players.
That level, though, the Sun Belt, I think.
You look at College of Charleston, maybe, you know, you develop a guy. Maybe a College of Charleston would have a fighting chance. Maybe Coastal Carolina would have a fighting chance. I imagine that the coffers for Coastal Carolina baseball will swell after this season, especially if they make it to the College World Series.
Well, Kevin Snall said as much during the postgame, one of the postgames over the weekend. He talked about how a couple of guys have come in and made it where they can be competitive for years to come, and they made a contribution to the program that they can be competitive for years to come. So you clearly understand what he's talking about. That means they've got the coffers available to keep people like, say, Jacob Morrison or a Caden Bodine. I mean, you know there were people talking to Caden in the last couple of years. Dude, you need to go someplace else. You can star elsewhere. And he was thinking, well, you know what? I can star here, and I'm still going to be a major league player. And obviously that was the case. And Coastal was able to keep him and build that pitching staff around a terrific catcher. And now you look at where they are, 2 wins away from Omaha.
You wonder how quickly you see how quickly South Carolina moved on Amp Phillips. You wonder how far back down the line conversations were taking place through whatever parties, because one day after he announces he's transferring, he's announcing where he's going. So we know deals are getting cut, maybe not directly, but they're being cut through various parties working on behalf of the player, perhaps, and go-betweens, maybe agents involved. I don't know if he has an agent or not, but regardless, a good pickup for South Carolina. And the word today from John Whittle of the Big Spur that Parker Marlott will return to South Carolina next season, a 2-year pitcher for them with a 4-0 record and 2 saves and a 4.27 ERA and 57 strikeouts, 24 walks in 52 2/3 innings. He's one of the guys on the staff that you could say has kind of a power arm. So that is a nice save for the South Carolina coaching staff. Meantime, at Clemson, outfielder Tristan Becerra is transferring. He was a product of J.L. Mann, 3 seasons with the Tigers, a career .266 hitter in 87 games, 10 homers, 51 RBIs, a part-time starter. I imagine he'll find a nice home somewhere, because he's got some good numbers and he's got some ability. I would imagine he'll find a high-level landing place.
Are you surprised that Carolina has been able to keep as many of their players as they have? Because, quite frankly, after the end of this season and what they didn't do on the field, and then when John Whittle's expose came out and just exposed a lot of negative things within the program, I thought when the transfer portal opened up, it would be like a flood of Gamecocks leaving. But for the most part, I think they've pretty much held their own. And I have to admit, I'm surprised. I really am.
Yeah, you thought it'd be more of a flood? I mean, they've had a pretty fair number of players hit the portal. Some weren't contributors.
Right.
A few so far have been. I would say the major contributor so far, I'm just going off the top of my head, Chase Woita was a pretty good contributor. You'd have to say that that's a fairly significant loss.
But don't you think getting both your corner infielders to come back,
no question,
and that sort of balance, and that's probably puts you in the plus side.
No question about it.
To make up for Woida leaving.
No question about it. No question about it. All right, got some other news notes. A complete recruiting report coming up for you tonight. Gabe Gardenia, head football coach at Charleston Southern at 7:05. We'll talk some football with him. We'll talk some Buccaneer football from the spring and looking ahead to the upcoming season. Today was a big day. Today was a day we got our credential applications for SEC Media Days. It's like a season in and of itself. I'm surprised they didn't put it out on SEC Network. Hey, by the way, don't forget to check your email today. It's a big day. Well, I mean, listen, it's done for the SEC Network and ESPN, and for the rest of us, we're just there as background fodder. And to give them, really, I mean, they're not mean to us. Don't get me wrong. They give us the opportunity, but it's catered to their television partners and their radio partners. The rest of us, we scramble to get what we can get, but that's fine. Not complaining. It's going to be in Atlanta. Going to be right there at the College Football Hall of Fame. It's a great setup. It's the week before the ACC. The ACC has theirs in Charlotte again this year, so of course we'll have them both covered for you here on Sports Talk. So besides that today, all the other big stuff, of course, we've got an SC Wild night tonight with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources coming up at 7:35. We look forward to having him with us as well. And when are you hitting the road for Auburn?
Bright and early tomorrow morning. Be headed over to the Plains. Coastal practices at 2:45. I'm going to assume Central Time tomorrow. So get out there and
you better make sure, because computers can change on you and throw you off an hour.
Well, let's see. I got Auburn Baseball Regional Media Information, and it says Thursday, June 5th, practice Auburn 1 p.m., Coastal Carolina 2:45. I'm going to assume, since it came from Auburn, that it's a Central Time, not an Eastern Time.
I hope you're right. right.
I do as well.
We look forward to your coverage there. Well, now is it? They will have press conferences tomorrow around the practice sessions.
That's correct. Auburn goes at 2:30, and then Kevin Snall and Coastal will be at 4:15.
Cool. Looking forward to hearing what you've got. That's 4:50, so that'll be 5:15 our time.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll have a setup there at the stadium you can get to real quickly.
So I may see if I can stay. If not, I may be talking to you while I'm riding back to the hotel in the car.
Okay. We can make that work. We can certainly make that work.
And done before.
Absolutely.
On this program.
Absolutely we have. We've opened shows from the road on our phones before because of being stuck in traffic. No, not in recent years. This was years ago. That's a story for another time. Okay, our phone number, 888-898-2525. If you want to join us here for a few minutes, we got time for phone calls and text messages. 803-900-4847. Got a number of text messages to get to. We will get to those. Recruiting coming your way. Gabe Gardenia. Did you know he was a place kicker at Alabama back in the day?
I did not know that part.
Yes.
We do have to ask him if he's still doing Bloody Tuesdays.
Bloody Tuesdays, you're right. And, of course, SC Wild, but your calls are coming up after the break. Line them up. We'll knock them off. Be right back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
Trying to make a living isn't supposed to feel like dying. I punch the clock, wanna punch a ticket to New York and punch the boss, but they don't pay enough for me to cover that cost, so I punch the sheetrock instead.
Kind of a rainy day in South Carolina today. Might be that way for a day or two, but the sunshine will be back. It's June. It's time to get to the beach and enjoy yourself along the coast of South Carolina. Grand Strand, the greatest strip of beach in America. And the man who can put you on the Grand Strand with no problem is Jimmy Smith from James Smith Real Estate. 843-237-4246. Check him out online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. Jimmy and the staff will put you in a great location at a price to fit your budget. So you go shopping for what you're looking for with your budget. They'll help you out from there. They'll take you from there because they have their eyes and fingers on literally thousands of properties up and down the Grand Strand. If they can't find it for you, nobody can. 843-237-4246, pauliesvacationrentals.com. Don't delay. Make that phone call today and get what you're looking for.
That'd be
Okay.
a fun debate to have in our state. What is the greatest strip of real estate along the beach in South Carolina? Is it the Grand Strand? Is it a little bit closer to Charleston? Is it all the way down to Hilton Head? I think it'd be a fascinating debate.
All depends on who's advertising with you. So as far as I'm concerned,
So right now, Horry County then, huh?
and Georgetown, I love that strip. I mean, look, we got
No doubt.
we got your Kiowa, and we got your Hilton Head, and we got your Wild Dunes area. Those are all very fine locations, and I wouldn't mind, getting my suntan in my Speedo at any of those locations. But I do like the Myrtle Beach, Garden City, Surfside, Debadoo, Georgetown.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Devanue folks are not going to let you in there in your Speedo, though. That's the thought.
Nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid. Hide the women and children. Nothing to be afraid of. Okay, let's take some phone calls tonight as we go to Danny over in Florence. Up first tonight. Danny, welcome into Sports Talk. How you doing?
I'm doing okay, Phil. How you doing?
Terrific. Good to have you with us.
Okay, I just had two quick questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Well, one is since Clemson's been eliminated and the Shamecocks had the worst season in school history, are you guys going to be covering Duke in the Super Regional? And also, if you saw where John Shire got a 5-star Kansas commit to decommit and come to Duke.
Yeah, first of all, in all seriousness, we'll mention the Duke scores. That guy's done a great job. What a terrific coach. I got to believe Virginia will take a hard look at him because it's a perfect natural fit if he believes the Virginia job is a better job than what he's got. But what is that? That's Coach Pollard? Is that his name?
Yeah,
Coach
Chris Pollard.
Man, he's done a great job.
Yeah, he's a tremendous coach.
Just done a great job. So, we're going to obviously mention their scores, let you know what's going on if you're not paying attention. And as far as was this something that happened today, getting this kid from Kansas?
I saw a day or so ago that on social media, and I forgot the guy's name. It's like Farr or Parr or something like that. But he was a 5-star Kansas commit, and he got him to decommit and commit to Duke.
Well, he's put together a great class, obviously, and they're going to, Duke's going to be It'll be a different team. You lose Knipple, you lose Flag, two superstar players going right to the NBA. You got to regroup a little bit, but I mean, they're just an AAU team. They're just a national AAU team collecting the best players in the country.
Well, Flag may be taking a pay cut to go to the NBA.
You're right. From what we've heard, what was he getting? $24 million at Duke? Come on, somewhere Mike Krzyzewski's shaking his head.
Somebody said like 28 or something like that.
Yeah. You Duke people, you guys are well heeled. How much did you give him?
No more than the minimum for an Iron Dukes membership.
Which is what? That ain't cheap.
It's $100.
That's it?
Yep.
Wait a minute. You can pay $100 and be an Iron Duke member, and that allows you to what? Buy football tickets?
Well, you can get. I don't go to that many games, but I get information about what you have to do to qualify for tickets.
Yeah. Does that give you? But now you're not getting Duke basketball tickets.
No, but I mean, I could get put on a list, but it also gives you you get magazines and all this kind of stuff from them.
I could be on the list for Green Bay Packers season tickets, but it's 50 years long. Good luck being alive when you get a chance to buy them. So.
Now, I'm one of the poor supporters.
I hear you. You. All right. Thank you. I tell you, Duke playing at home against Murray, not to downgrade Murray, but my gosh, you got to like Duke's chances of getting to the CWS.
Doubt. Yeah, Chris Pollard's a terrific coach. He's done a great job at Duke, and you're right. If Virginia comes calling, I think that's a phone call I would take if I'm him. And Dame Sarr is the guy that Danny was talking about. He actually committed a couple of weeks back, but supposed to be a stud. Not surprised that he was considering Kansas and ended up at Duke.
I wonder what that bidding war was about between those two teams.
Yeah, 10, 11 million, something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised. All right, thank you. We'll continue with your calls coming up. That number, 888-898-2525. Bottom of the hour break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Showers while you sleep are likely. It'll be muggy. We'll have a low temperature of 69. Tomorrow, much like today, off and on showers, at least to start. We do clear out some in the afternoon. The high reaches 81. Friday looking better, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We're warmer. The high is 91. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
They must all. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The House Oversight Committee is requesting interviews with members of former President Joe Biden's innermost circle. Oversight Chairman James Comer of Kentucky requested transcribed interviews with 5 former Biden aides alleging they had participated in a cover-up. A federal judge says the Trump administration must give migrants sent to an El Salvador prison a chance to challenge their removals. U.S. District Court Judge James Boasberger ruled Wednesday that the administration has to give people a way to contest their deportations under an 18th century wartime law. He said they must also be able to dispute allegations that they are members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 91 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Hey, it's Kev. I'm hanging out with Ken, the owner of Broker Solar, a local company. Now, Ken, I know you have some solar pet peeves. These national guys, they're just not very honest.
One of the common myths in the solar industry is that you can get solar for free or some kind of government-paid solar, and that's simply not the truth. What you can get is a solid investment that has tax credits that will pay you back for years to come. That's one of the things that we promote at Broker Solar is proper education in what solar is and how you can take advantage advantage of the incentives that are out there, local and federal.
Tell me more about these tax credits.
There's currently a huge federal tax credit that gets you a third of the system cost back. And on top of that, the state of South Carolina, we're lucky enough to have an extra 25% of that solar system cost come back to you in the form of tax credits, totaling for a 55% discount on your solar system back in tax credits.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing Friday Night Prime Rib Special. Our great chefs at Flight Deck Restaurant have created a great prime rib dinner special, which includes a 10-ounce slow-roasted certified Angus beef prime rib dinner, served with 2 sides of your choice for only $22.95. And if you mention We Love Flight Deck, you get a free cookie or a soft drink with your meal. So come see us at Flight Deck Restaurant to enjoy a delicious slow-roasted prime rib dinner. While you're here, check out the new and improved arcade with over 33 games. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you, and God bless.
Get ready for a summer of adventure with Founders Federal Credit Union. Now through July 31st, you could take advantage of a special 6.99% APR on select purchases made with your Founders credit card. Whether you're planning a road trip across the state, a relaxing beach getaway, or finally checking off that bucket list destination, we're here to help you make it happen. With this promotional APR, you can enjoy your summer without the stress of high interest rates. Pack your bags, gather your loved ones, and get moving to the vacation you've been dreaming of. Founders makes it easy to enjoy more. So go ahead, kick back, relax, and soak up every sun-soaked moment of your well-deserved summer break without breaking your budget. Learn more and see the list of qualifying purchases at foundersfcu.com/cc. Let Founders help you take the trip of a lifetime. Promotional rate ends February 1st, 2026. Effective APR of 13.25% to 17.90% will apply. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
We are back on Sports Talk. It is the Sports Talk Media Network across South Carolina on a Wednesday. Great to have you with us. We now know the classes the plumber will be taking at South Carolina as a freshman. Let's see if I can remember them. University 101, Sex Education 101. Was that on? What time is that? Is that your 8 o'clock in the morning class? Is that 8 in the morning? That's awfully early.
I think that one's at 11 p.m. or something.
Oh!
Is that a boy?
No.
There you go. Good timing.
I'm not taking that class.
Did you take that? We had something like that back in the day. What was that called back then? There was a class that everybody wanted to get into. It had to do with, the birds and the bees at the older level. I never could get into it. I don't want to, I'm embarrassed to talk about it. But you remember that class, don't you, Bergie?
I don't remember that in college. I think we had like a biology class in high school, and part of it was, sex ed portion. But, yeah, I'm trying to think, and surely because one of the nice things about being a member of the athletic department is we always got to register first. So whatever classes and whatever times I wanted them, I got them. And I was just a lowly manager. I'm not Lenore Sellers.
See, I heard up at Clemson, the sex ed class up there had to do with a lot of work around cows. Hello. Only kidding, Clemson people. You know better than that. Maybe you're sheep.
Oh, you know the quickest way to get out of a hole, right?
What's
Stop
that?
digging. Stop digging.
All right, let's continue with our phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the phone number. Appreciate the phone calls. Let's go to our next caller, and that's going to be David. Is that right? David over in Casey. David, welcome in. How are you?
Good. How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing great. It's good to have you.
Yeah. Good to be talking to you, Phil and Chris. I called the other day about the baseball team, and I'm not here to bash on Jeremiah Donati and Paul Manera at all, because I went to school there and I love my Gamecocks. But when he talked about keeping Paul Manera and the direction of the program, I didn't like disturbed with some of the things he said. He said, for instance, that the Big Spur article about Mr. Whittle, that it was just half truths and subjective, and he basically just blew that whole outstanding deep input into the Gamecocks and kind of just blew it off as being half truths and subjective. And that kind of came off to me as kind of arrogant and kind of condescending and kind of tone deaf. And he seemed like he blamed everybody except for Paul Maneri, and he didn't put any heat on him whatsoever to get the job done. So it just seemed like he sugarcoated it and made it everybody's fault and possibly Paul Manera's, but not really. But we'll just get better. So I was just, and he said it had nothing to do with the buyout contract, and I kind of doubt that. And I would just like your comments on that. And I love my Gamecocks, and I want them to do great next year.
All right. Thank you very much. So basically you're saying what Donati said in that interview with Jordan Kay with the State, you don't think he was genuine. You don't believe his comments were genuine, in your opinion. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that kind of what you're saying?
I want to, not quite that bad. I just seemed like he blamed everybody except Manera. He just needed to put a little heat on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like when he dismissed that article. He just said it was half-truths and subjective. And then he said that, well, if it's something would be know to be alarmed, then I would know all about it. But he had to know something about all that. So I just thought he was just too lenient on Paul Manera, and that's what I'm thinking, and hopefully.
Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I appreciate your phone call, and your opinion is certainly a good one. I can tell you're a concerned Gamecock citizen and only wants the team to do better. Thank you very much. So I would say, Bergie, that you're an AD and you're asked these questions, and I don't think you want to throw your coach under the bus.
No.
I think you want to publicly support him, even though you might have some concerns, and maybe privately you express those concerns, and maybe you are privately putting some heat on him. But I think it's more diplomatic not to talk about it in public, and also, I mean, put on a positive light and hope for the best, that you don't have to have a serious public conversation about it next year. Hope that the guy can turn it around and get them into a regional, because I think the bottom line next year is they've got to go to a regional. You know, a winning record,
yes,
improving by 2 or 3 games with a winning record, but not going to a regional is not going to get it done for him next year.
No, and Jeremiah Donati said so when he talked to Jordan Kay. He said, I know our fan base is upset, and candidly, I'd be worried if they weren't, because it tells me it matters to them. And he understands the point I made, that it's one thing you can deal with a fan base who loves your team, who's overjoyed with the way you play because they give you money. You can deal with a fan base who's angry, like the Carolina fans, at least the ones Donati has talked to. I think the ones he's got to worry about are the ones that basically just gave up on the team and didn't care. When you get that kind of mediocrity, that kind of sort of melancholy in the program, and no one really cares anymore, that's the fan base you don't want to have. So he's right. If they're upset, he's okay. But, you know, his points in our caller was talking about, David was talking about the sort of dismissing John Whittle's column, and I think Jeremiah Donati answered that properly, because I'd be concerned if I'm a fan of the Gamecocks in my AD, if everything that, and still have no reason to believe what John wrote is incorrect, but if the AD didn't know that, and he said we have people around the program all the time, and if there was anything to be alarmed about, I would know it immediately. So if that's the case, then you have to wonder, and it goes back to my question I asked you before the break earlier about the amount of Gamecocks that are actually staying. How much of what John was told and what he wrote in that column is point on accurate, and was he misled a little bit? Because I'm getting the sense from the amount of players that are staying, Phil, that it's not nearly as bad as we might have been led to believe.
Well, it's not it's not a mass exodus. Not you did see where Eddie Copper is leaving, and that was the topic of some of the criticism was how he was allegedly handled by the medical staff or
with their
coaching staff. Yeah, exactly, things like that. But and again, I think that right now their three most important players in the field, as I see it, their three most important players are returning. Your two corner infielders and your catcher, if he stays at catcher, and maybe the other catcher is staying as well, Braylon. So, and then your pitching staff. I mean, I think that for their standpoint, I hated to see a Jerzenbeck go. I mean, you put so much time and effort and energy into getting him healthy. Now, maybe he was one that wasn't happy with the rehab and the way that was going. Maybe that was part of it. And his dad, of course, was a major league pitcher, so he's going to be very knowledgeable and very sensitive to how all that's handled. Maybe that has something to do with it. But, my goodness, he was a talent, and you'd like to have seen that he had the opportunity to pitch a full season at South Carolina because he could maybe have done some wonderful things. And there's still some other players there that we haven't heard from. I guess maybe, they're waiting to see what the draft does, or you would think by now if you were going to – they've had the meetings with the players. They've had the exit meetings. They kind of know where they stand. So if you're not wanted, then by all means you should be in the portal by now.
No doubt.
If you wanted to come back, I'm thinking like a Henry Kazmar. Now maybe he's thinking he's going to be drafted. Maybe he is going to be a decent draft pick. I don't know. But maybe he is planning to return. I haven't seen anything about him or from him to this point. So to answer your question, to sum it up, they've had the expected departures, and they've had a couple of highlight players leave, but it hasn't been mass exodus. Like the place is burning down. I got to get out of here and save myself.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I expected.
Yeah,
and and back to the point about whether or not the fan base being upset. I think that's the second thing Paul Maneri is going to have to deal with is an apathetic fan base. Well, he's got to win them back over too.
Let me make this simple for you. The only way they win back the fan base, at least in the first month of the season, is by winning the Clemson series.
Indeed,
period.
Exactly.
They'll play 9 games or so before they play Clemson, and they might have another sparkling 9-0 record or however many games they play. I don't know what the schedule's going to look like. But that series, South Carolina's got to treat that series like it's a super regional. I mean, they got to come out and they got to figure out a way to beat Clemson and take 2 out of 3 minimum to show the fan base for no other reason than to show the fan base that we're back. And Clemson doesn't face that kind of situation. And I know that series does not in any way determine what the entire season is going to look like, because you can go the opposite direction. You can win that series and you can go downhill or whatever the case may be. But it certainly would give South Carolina a feel-good moment and show their fans that they are back and they're going to be contenders moving forward in the SEC. Keep in mind, what was Clemson? Didn't they win like their first 17 games? Didn't they have some – they had this humongous
They had a ridiculous
start.
streak at home, too, because they played so many home games during the season. I think that really hurt them down the stretch when they had those tough road series. I don't think they were prepared.
Yeah,
I think it may have hurt them.
That may have been part of it. All right, let's go back to the phones. 888-898-2525, our phone number here on Sports Talk. As we continue with your phone calls, and we will go next to Andy. Is that right? Andy in Columbia. Andy, welcome in. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm just peachy corn. I hope you and Chris are doing well, and I know the plumber's doing well. I must really be getting old, because 48 years ago when I started South Carolina, you didn't know about your classes until like 5 days before school semester started.
That's true.
You used to go down to the Coliseum, have to fight to try to. They used to have the little boards hanging up that said what class it is.
Yep.
You'd fight to try to get the times you wanted. Then you'd have to go down into the arena and have it run through the old-fashioned computers and get your classes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And you tried to
and
find
you
the
go
easiest
further back to
professors.
me. You can add 3 years to you. You go back 50 plus
You
years.
tried to find the easiest professors. You would hear people, you don't want that guy.
Exactly.
You don't want him. No.
And usually their class was gone before you could even, do anything.
Yeah.
Now
we're gonna keep you
talking about.
We're going to keep you informed on the plumber's academic career. Every test score he gets, he's got to report here on the show. So we'll keep you up to date on that GPA. Right now, it's at 0.00.
Don't take self-paced astronomy, because Andy was dumb and took that and thought that you could kind of do it all at the end. And also had a friend who at the beginning was an instructor who kind of got kicked out of his position. So that was a course that Andy did not do very well in.
That's great advice, Andy. I tried to take that course too, and I dropped it about 3 weeks into the semester.
Exactly.
I was like,
I was only taking
doing
9
this.
hours. I was only taking 9 hours that semester.
Yeah.
I had that and 2 other courses that I had on Tuesday and Thursday, and those courses were at 2:00 and 4:30, and so I had my Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays and Wednesdays free.
Here's something else you need to be aware of talking to the plumber. You need to know that drop add date. That's a very important date. Yeah, make sure you mark that on your calendar, because you need to know by when you got to drop a class so it doesn't count against you.
And don't take a class. And if you have a class that the professor wrote the book in, drop it as soon as possible, because there's no BS in your way through the test.
I had that.
They know.
I had that in history freshman year. The professor wrote the book, and I had my yellow marker, and by the time the semester was over, that book was I could have taken a paintbrush with a bucket of yellow paint and just painted the inside of that book, because everything he said in the lectures, everything was in the book, and then it ended up on the tests.
I had a guy for Economic 201 Money and Banking, Oliver Woods, who wrote the book. Okay, and this was a very small class. There must have been only about 18 of us in there, maybe 20. He brought his wife with him to proxy the test. They walked up and down like goose-stepping Germans. And I made the first test, I made like an 18. He accused me of cheating. I said, I cheated. I said, give me a little bit better, more, I dropped. 3 of my friends stayed in it. I dropped it. The only one who got who got a C in the class, he was in the honors school, and he got a C. The rest of them got F.
Oh, the horrors of academics.
And I think the course you were talking about, Corn, was Psych 500, Human Sexuality.
That sounds about like it.
The course?
They make a website called Rate Your Professor now, and so I saw all my professors when I signed up for classes. And there's a website where you can see what other students rate them.
Oh,
and all 5s are all in the 4s or 5s star ratings. So I'm not worried about it.
Okay, let's talk a little sports.
Kind of like football players. I've seen a lot of 5 stars that turn into 2 stars.
That's true.
All right, what you got?
If you don't mind staying on hold for a second, Josh's family's on the other line to try and tell him not to listen to us. So we're going to take that call real quick.
All right, what you got, Andy? You got about a minute or so.
The young man that's coming from Purdue, does that make Bo Hollins a little PO? They're bringing a first baseman?
I would think not, because, I'm sure they know they got to have players, and this guy could be a DH, or it could be a platoon situation, or Hollins can also play the outfield, I think. I think he can also play the outfield.
Well, his father taught him the outfield. Like
I think. Don't hold. I'm no expert on that. I think he can. I think he played a little outfield with South Carolina this year. I think, but
he was a pretty good. He played pretty good defensively, didn't he, this year?
Yes, he did.
I didn't watch that many games. I told you I kind of gave up. I was more on the softball thing, on one that was on TV. But
yeah. I can tell you in just a second. But look, you got to get players, and you got to have competition. Shane Beamer's approach is a good approach. Hey, I let them know we're going to compete here, and we're going to bring in players, and you're going to have a guy competing for your job, and we're going to play the guy that's the best guy. So get out there and compete. Don't be shy about it. So I'm sure that I think Bo Hollins is good enough to to hold his own and compete with anybody. And they'll find a spot for him and this other guy in the lineup, I'm sure.
Well, one last thing. Do you think that, Thibodeau getting fired, Rose, who's the president of the Knicks now, used to be his agent.
Ooh.
And, he just signed a $30 million extension, just a little bit back. You think Rose kind of set him up on a golden parachute there? I was kind of listening to, I watch Dan Patrick every day.
Yeah.
And they were talking about that today.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure they took care of him. But, man, he's not going to be unemployed very long if he wants to coach somewhere.
I'll tell you what, if I had $30 million, I wouldn't work for a while. I'd sit back and let big fat Dolan pay me some cash. I mean, what's the big deal? Dolan's a fool. And number two, I think the big problem was there. I think he wanted Cat because he had the Cat at Minnesota, but they should never have gotten rid of the Hartenstein, the guy that's in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big defensive plug in there and a big guy off the bench for him. And if they would have kept him and spent the money on him, that I think that would have gave them so much more depth off the bench and so much more defense. And I think my Knicks might have been in the tournament in the title this year. But
by the way, Bo Hollins, he made 3 errors this season.
Yeah, I thought he played a pretty good. That's why they moved Petrie from out to the outfield and put Hollins at first, because I thought he had a better glove.
And I'm looking to see if he had any starts in the outfield. So I may be mistaken on that.
And
I don't
another
see
thing
any
about
starts
the
for him
baseball
in the
team,
outfield.
while you're looking at that, Phil,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't care less of how many arms they lost. When you have a 9-point-something ERA, you don't have that many arms that are that impressive that you want to keep, unless you got a coaching problem. Okay, it's either arm problem and the kids aren't talented, or you got a problem with your coaching staff, one of the two. And,
well,
either or.
Maneri swears by Terry Rooney, and Terry Rooney has an excellent reputation, and he has championship history in his pedigree. So maybe they got to get overall better players and develop the better ones that are staying behind and make them into better players. All right, thank you very much. Hollins played, oh no, that's first base still. Looks like true first baseman. Be right back.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your rec case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett, or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Poll question of the week, dedicated to the Shots. Coastal Carolina, the last of the state's baseball teams still standing. Shots will play at Auburn this weekend, Super Regional. How do you see it? Our poll question brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. Call Larry at 803-799-1998 for your insurance needs. So right now, 60%, Bergie, think Coastal wins 2 out of 3. 25.7 Auburn 2 out of 3. 8.6 Coastal sweeps. 5.7 Auburn sweeps.
I think Friday's game is more important for Coastal than it is for Auburn. I think Auburn could figure out a way to battle back if they lost game 1. I'm not sure Coastal can win 2 straight on the road, 2 elimination games. And that would be my guess. They're going to run Jacob Morrison out there on Friday, the Sun Belt Conference Pitcher of the Year. That being said, he didn't start Friday this past week, and they were fine. But I think Auburn's a touch better than Fairfield, so that would be my guess. And I think they're going to rest a lot on what he's able to accomplish on Friday night. That's a big game obviously for both teams. You win game 1 in a super year in great shape, but I think more so for Coastal.
Absolutely. Got a quick text message here. Got several, but one quickie. How about LSU Shreveport winning the first college team to have an undefeated season? Awesome for college sports and sports in general. Yeah, what were they, 59-0?
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah. I bet big LSU doesn't play those guys.
Stay away from them. Back after the top of the hour.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. While a ceasefire proposal in the Russian-Ukraine war falls through and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky pushes for direct talks, the war is not diminishing.
President Donald Trump says that Russian President Vladimir Putin told him very strongly in a phone call that he will have to respond to Ukraine's drone attack on Russian airfields. Trump adds that it was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. During a Russian cabinet meeting, Putin called the leadership in Kyiv illegitimate and that Ukraine is conducting acts of terrorism. At a Brussels teleconference, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky urged Western backers to speed up deliveries of air defense systems to counter ongoing Russian missile strikes against Ukraine. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Pennsylvania is taking the administration to court over food aid cuts. Jennifer King reports.
Pennsylvania's Democratic Governor Josh Shapiro says the state is suing the U.S. Department of Agriculture in federal court for cutting off funding for food aid.
They made a deal with Pennsylvania and they illegally broke it.
The 3-year, $13 million contract was to provide money that the state planned to use to buy cheese, eggs, meat, fruits, and vegetables from farms to stock food banks, school nutrition programs, and child care centers. The cuts come 3 months after the USDA advised states it was ending the pandemic-era assistance program. Governor Shapiro says he's confident the state will win the lawsuit. I'm Jennifer King.
The House Oversight Committee is requesting interviews with members of former President Joe Biden's innermost circle. Oversight Chairman James Comer of Kentucky requested transcribed interviews with 5 former Biden aides, alleging they had participated in a cover-up. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 91 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
The state of Israel and Iran continue to be on edge. The latest from Felice Friedson.
Does Israel have the military ability to destroy the nascent Iranian nuclear machine, with or without American assistance, has again pushed to the head of the most frequently debated list. Encouraged by President Trump's seeming carte blanche to retaliate as the army sees fit, Israelis were shocked in recent days by the president's shift to negotiating an agreement that falls short of the security bar agreed to by most Israelis. The IAEA has picked up the national pulse with its warning that now opines that Iran needs a mere week to reach 90% enrichment. Another ominous voice? Former NSC head Amri Dror repeated his assessment that Israel can do it alone. I'm Felice Friedson, Town Hall News, Jerusalem.
News and analysis at themedialine.org and townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Showers while you sleep are likely. It'll be muggy. We'll have a low temperature of 69. Tomorrow, much like today, off and on showers, at least to start. We do clear out some in the afternoon. The high reaches 81. Friday looking better, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We're warmer. The high is 91. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with a second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk Media Network. On this Wednesday night, great to have you with us. We come to you from our studios at the Point Radio, downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut, Josh Cohen here, the plumber. And from the Berge Palace over in Sardis, he is Chris Bergen. Got recruiting coming up for you. Oh, yeah. We got a lot to cover on the recruiting front coming your way. Let's get you in the mood for all that by talking some football. Tonight we welcome in from down in Charleston at Charleston Southern University, Coach Gabe Gardenia, getting ready for another season with the Buccaneers as we welcome him into Sports Talk once again. Coach, how are you? It's great to have you with us.
Well, I'm doing great, Phil. Thanks for having me on, and always fun to talk Buccaneer football.
Absolutely. How was your spring? How would you summarize what you guys accomplished in the spring?
Well, I think it was an exciting spring. Exciting to get a couple guys back who were, missed last season, and kind of good to see them back and healthy and in full swing and making plays and just seeing our defense kind of continue to gel together and then doing a couple little new things on offense. It's fun. It was a great spring, and the biggest thing is we came out healthy. So that's always a big win.
Absolutely. Who were these guys you were hoping to have back, got them healthy, they're back, and they're putting you in a good mood?
Yeah, well, we didn't have our Zoltan Osborne all last season. Young man from here in Charleston, played at Fort Dorchester, and won some games for us as a true freshman 2 years ago, and unfortunately had a knee injury late in 2024. So just wasn't the right thing to play him last year. I'm sorry, in 24. So he's back and looks really good, and has just done a good job building his body too. So excited to see him, making plays, and then just getting some guys back on defense and different things who missed different parts of the year. Obviously, you talk recruiting. It was a big year for us in state via the high school and the portal. So good to bring some people back to South Carolina and still continue to sign a lot of high school guys out of the state as well.
For sure. So Seth Strickland, you hired him from Anderson to come in and revamp your offense. And what do you know about? What did you think about what was done in the spring, and how will it be different from what you've been doing there?
Well, I think with Seth, we kind of got the maybe the appetizer and the first course out of the way in the spring, and now we're just trying to add some layers and get more reps at what we're currently doing. Seth played for Coach Spurrier at Carolina when he was a player, so I think a little bit of that fun and gun, and just very, very knowledgeable when it comes to, I think, things that our receivers do well. I think that Zoltan does well, and I think our backs are excited to play in this offense as well. It's a smart man's offense, I can tell you that. This is you better study your playbook to take the snap, and so excited about him. Excited about Landon Martin, who was a really good player at Newberry and then G8 at Carolina along with Seth. So we call Landon Big Farm, and he's making them farm animals up front. Those old linemen come off the ball and punch people in the mouth. It's exciting.
Does this offense fit Zoltan's skill level in a particular way?
Yeah, I think Zoltan's obviously very very intelligent. He's a very good passer. I think we do some things to within the pass game just to keep it keep you off balance. You know what I'm saying? We're not just going to stand back there in one place. Move the pocket a little bit and let them throw on the run some, but also let them read defenses. So our I think we've got 5 really, really good wideouts and a couple of tight ends that are I don't know, they're excited to catch the ball more, and it's kind of this mindset of those Warriors teams when they were basketball teams when they were winning championships. I don't know that they really cared who shot the ball. They just wanted to run beautiful offense, and I think our guys don't really care who catches it. They just want to see their teammates be successful and move the ball. Let's light up the scoreboard here at the Shipyard, right?
Understood. Talking to Coach Gabe Gardenia from Charleston Southern. Last year, excuse me, had that close loss to the Citadel by a point. We saw how good the Bulldogs turned out to be. And then you turn around and you beat Furman, and that was eye-opening. And you kind of thought, oh, look here, something's going on there with Charleston Southern. That was two impressive games for you there to start the season. But then you didn't win a game the rest of the way. What happened after that Furman game in your mind?
Well, I think we were an inexperienced team, and even a little bit of the Citadel game. We lost 5 games by 5 points or less, and we missed 2 kicks on the last play of the game to win and to tie, and then we just kind of invented some ways to lose games down the stretch. And I think there's an art to finishing games. I think there's a maturity on winning close games. And for whatever reason, we just weren't able to pull that off. Hence, we made some changes, to try to, get our offense going more. We need to score more points. I think having a guy like Zoltan back helps us. And I think, we just started a lot of sophomores up front on our offensive line. And I think those guys, man, they got a lot of snaps. We're a very experienced team now. And I think we've played consistent defense. I think we've been solid on special teams. People think, you went 1-11, man. What a tough year, and it was tough. But God, I think we're really close. I think there's some awesome things going on our team. Off the field, we just put together the highest GPA that we've had in the last 10 years, maybe ever. I think we've just hadn't tracked it that long. We've had some cool things, spiritually go on our team, some guys getting baptized and doing different things. And so I just think, man, there's a lot of smoke, around our team as far as success. And so now it's just time to get one more spark and get that fire going. And I think we got a chance to really be a good football team, and just the closeness and the unity that these guys have and the confidence that they're showing even in the summer is just something that haven't seen in 2 years. So it's exciting.
Sure.
Coach, when we get your colleagues on around the state here on Sports Talk, we probably don't spend nearly enough time chatting about special teams, but you talked about all the narrow losses you had last year. You missed 2 extra points and were just 6 of 14 in field goals. Do you feel like you've been able to address that, and are you going to be better in the kicking game, do you hope, this fall?
Yeah, it's one of the big things. I'm impressed that you know our stats like that, because I tell people all the time we lost 5 games by 5 points or less, and we went 6 of 14 on field goals.
And you're a kicker.
Some of those,
and you're a kicker.
Yeah, well, some of I know I got to fix it, right? And so you have a low number of field goals too, right? And one of the reasons we had a low number is because we kept going for it on fourth down. Because we just didn't have the great faith in our guy. We've been out. We went into the portal and found a young man that was from Buies Creek, North Carolina, that was playing D2 football all the way out in New Mexico. He was happy as a lark to get closer to home, and going from a flight to a short drive to for his parents to watch him play was kind of a no-brainer. And so Zach has done a good job. Zach Gordon, just being consistent. And he's just had a good mindset. We really tried to just take the pressure off of him too and say, Zach, it's just football, man. Just go out there and kick. And really did a good job over the latter half of the spring of being really consistent, and then put him in a bunch of tough situations, and had several guys competing to be that guy. So you never know till we actually go do it, when it counts. But I think we're a lot more confident in what we're trying to do in those situations.
Phil was asking you earlier about your offense, and you joked about going for it so often on fourth downs. You were actually better in terms of percentage on fourth downs than you were on third downs this past season. How much do you hope you've improved earlier in the sequence? Where are you going to be, you hope, a better first down team so you don't put yourself – I'm assuming you faced a good many third and long situations. That's why you're right around 30% this past fall.
Yeah, I think it's just being able to – be a little bit more efficient in the passing game. I think is really going to help us. I think we've run the ball decently. We just have had so much pressure on that run game, and so I think with the personnel we have, and just this little different system that we're implementing, I think it's just going to take a little bit of pressure off the entire offense. And let's just face it, we've been in triple digits here in scoring offense for 2 years, and that just isn't going to get it done. So I think our players are excited that we're doing some new things, and it's been obviously exciting to have, Seth and Landon, kind of implementing just a bit of a fresh approach to moving the football and scoring points.
All right, looking at your schedule for next season, you open up on the road in Nashville against Vanderbilt, then Coastal Carolina in Conway, so a tough opening there, but I do not see what happened to the Low Country Bowl. I do not see that for this coming season.
Yeah, it's scheduling wise. It's been for the first few years here is going to be kind of every other year.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I think myself and Maurice down there, Coach Drayton, we would love to play it every year. But sometimes you're, victim of, previous schedules made and things like that. Excited to be able to play South Carolina State. So we'll have maybe a different version.
Yeah.
Of a good low country battle there. But obviously, I think those games are just so important for our program. They're important for Charleston. Rivalries are just one of the most beautiful things about college sports, right? And so anytime we have something like that, it gets great coverage, obviously, from the media, but also it's, our fans love it, and there's a lot of passion behind it. So I think we've put together a pretty good package between the two administrations to play this game for a very, very long time. I think double-digit years, but it just won't be every year.
Gotcha. Well, we thank you for the time and enjoy a little bit of a summer vacation here coming up after camp work and all that, and then we'll see you coming up in August when we come through there on our Pigskin Tour. Look forward to sitting down with you once again.
Thanks, Coach.
So we're always glad to be on, and go Bucks.
Thank you, sir. Coach Gabe Gardenia from Charleston Southern. They only have 5 home games, too. I guess when you got to go to Vanderbilt and you got to go to Coastal Carolina, you give up a couple of home games in there, or at least one home game in there. So 5 home games at Buccaneer Field, and they play that OVC Big South schedule. It's not easy.
No. See what happens when you get to conference expansion. Not only does Carolina and Clemson get put in jeopardy, now you get a situation where Charleston Southern and Citadel can't play every year.
I know. That was such a good,
darn conference expansion.
Really good deal for down there. Thanks to the coach, and we'll come back with recruiting after the break.
This is Major Billy Downer with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Boating season is right around the corner here in the Palmetto State. As you get ready for this spring and summer, make sure your registration sticker is up to date and you have a copy of your registration card on board your boat. For more information on boat registration and answers to common questions, visit dnr.sc.gov.
If you're looking to grow your business, Sports Talk is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner or part of a large company in the Palmetto State, we want to hear about what you do. Sports Talk has a proven track record of delivering real results to our partners, and advertising with us is probably more affordable than you think. Our network of affiliates gives us the flexibility to work with budgets of all sizes, and our statewide coverage means that whether you're in Greenville, Orangeburg, Chesterfield, Charleston, Woodruff, or anywhere in between, your future customers are listening to Sports Talk every night. Radio remains one of the most effective ways to reach potential customers, and with our extensive reach across South Carolina, your message will be heard. Every business has a story, and we're here to help share yours. Let's find success together. Email us at sportstalkmedianetwork@gmail.com or visit sportstalksc.com to learn more about how we can help grow your business.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
G3 here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and it's time for a fall preview. That's right, 720 Chris Drive, 378 and I-26, Frontage Road, where you can now preview the best technology for golf known to man. It's the Tsunami Bar. It's live weight. It's the only technology out where you get your tempo and flow going before you play. Now, it also serves as a pattern support tool. 720 Chris Drive, Frontage Road, 378 and I-26. You also can visit the Garage Gym Pro Shop. Pick up your tools, take them home, and while you're here, tour the Scramble Course 6-hole pitch and putt right now.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Thanks again to Coach Gardenia for being with us here on Sports Talk. Great talking to him. About to run through all the coaches. Still got a few more to try to hit up if we can get them. Some of them are hard to get all of a sudden. Hard to get. I don't know why they're hard to get, but some of them are hard to get, Bergie. I don't know why. They're hard to get.
We must ask incorrectly.
If you don't hear them on the show, it's not that we haven't tried.
This is true.
They just get a
This
little
is true.
hard to get. Okay, not hard to get to Seawell's for the daily luncheon buffet. It's right there on Rosewood Drive. If you are heading, I don't know the directions in terms of the compass. So if you're heading, what way would that be? Well, if the Rocket's on your left, then Seawell's will be on your right at the fairgrounds.
There you go.
Yeah. So the Rocket on the left, Seawell's on the right. Rocket on the right, Seawell's on the left. You can't miss it. They've been there forever. They've been, of course, handling catering services for about 80 years. So they're right there, 1125 Rosewood Drive. So if you need them for catering, they're there for you. They're the standard in the catering business. At 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. What do we have tomorrow for the daily luncheon buffet, Plumber?
Well, we have sliced beef brisket, fried pork chops, and shrimp Alfredo, and southern fried chicken.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
4-course.
That's a 4-course meal. Yeah, that's
It is. That's good.
4 different major plates there. What else?
No, that's actually where Andy used to go to study for his astronomy self-taught class.
Hello.
He'd go sit in at Seawell's.
That's a good place. Yeah, you got to feed your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You got to feed your brain.
Fuel. It's fuel.
I mean, you couldn't live at the Big Bird the whole time. Did you ever go to the Big Bird?
The Big Bird.
Oh, come on. The Bird. We call it the Big Bird. The Bird.
What's that?
You never heard of the Bird? I'm talking to Bergie.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of where you.
It was across from the Honeycombs.
referencing.
It was across from the Honeycombs on North Main Street. It was like you could actually have a university meal card. They accepted the university meal card there.
Oh, on the side of the road?
Well, I mean, it's where Moe's is now. You know where Moe's is? You don't know where Moe's is.
Yeah.
Where Moe's is now, for those who know Columbia and the university area,
I'm sure
where Moe's is on North Main Street. That used to be the Bird. Oh yeah. Go make a bird run at 2 a.m. and get you a hamburger and fries and drink. Yeah.
Certainly did that a time or two.
The Bird was like the Varsity, kind of, sort of. I mean, the Varsity was a grill, was a hamburger, and this was, I think it was buffet. I think it was a buffet type thing at the Bird. Anyway, on to recruiting. But don't go to the Bird tomorrow. Go to Seawell's for the daily luncheon buffet. Leo Delaney, in his own words, 6'6", 280 out of Charlotte, announced his commitment to Clemson today. Finally, after we had to sit through 33 minutes of hogwash to get to his announcement on YouTube via 247 Sports. Here is Leo Delaney in his own words on why he picked Clemson.
Oh, man, there are so many reasons. You know, like I said, the culture of that program is second to none. And, you know, I talked about Coach Newsom and Coach Trout from Penn State and Michigan, but Coach Luke was a driving factor for my commitment. You know, we'd sit there and we'd talk football up in my head coach's office when he'd come and recruit me. And he's just so passionate about the sport and about coaching me to become an amazing athlete and an amazing person. And I couldn't have been more confident that he's someone that can develop me into the athlete I want to be. And, you know, I have some family connections to Clemson. My Uncle Johnny, he went there when Clemson's Lake was being built. So he's been a diehard Clemson fan since day one. And yeah, I mean, it's a remarkable place. I really feel like it's kind of a one-of-a-kind spot.
I feel bad keeping your mom and all your friends. I'm swarming you, but I want to ask one more question. For the Clemson fans out there, what can they expect from Leo Delaney, both the player, but also as a person?
You know, as a player, my number one goal in college is to win a Joe Moore Award. I'm confident in the recruiting class we're bringing in 2026 and the people already in that room. That's going to be my absolute 100% goal. I want to go in there. I want to, work my butt off to be the best player I can be, best person I can be off the field, and win a Joe Moore Award, win a Natty, and, do everything I can to be absolute best in player and person.
Comments of Leo Delaney. So he took his official to Clemson last weekend and decided not to continue. Penn State, Michigan, and Tennessee were the other officials he had down. Now, on 3, recruiting reporter Hayes Fawcett put out an apparent commitment alert for South Carolina today, though Shane Beamer, as of this evening, had not put out a typical commitment alert, if indeed this is a new commitment for the Gamecocks. So he sort of teased that he would put the link out when this person goes public with his commitment. So I don't know if that's a new one or something that Beamer's already tweeted about. But anyway, keep an eye out for that. Clemson today offered punter Mikey Bukakis. Prosper, Texas. He's ranked the number 2 punter nationally by Coles Kicking. Tuesday, Clemson offered 2027 offensive tackle Reed Ramsier, 6'5", 300. Orlando, he was in camp. Tigers offered 2027 cornerback Christian Chancellor, 5'10", 160, out of Daniel. He was in for a camp Tuesday. He's also a state champ in the long jump and the triple jump. Clemson's his first P4 offer. Clemson offered 27 cornerback Larry Moon, 5'11", 185 of IMG Academy, in Florida on Monday night. Clemson offered 27 linebacker Quentin Cypher, 6'3", 220 of Raleigh, earlier this week. He was first-team All-State. 175 tackles, 31.5 for loss, 12.5 sacks. Clemson earlier this week offered 27 offensive tackle Kennedy Brown, 6'5", 280 of Houston, very highly regarded. 27 receiver Jaden Kelly Murray of Somerville camped at Clemson Tuesday. 27 offensive tackle Peyton Miller of Texas was there today. Baseball-wise, as we mentioned earlier, South Carolina getting the transfer Amp Phillips from Upstate. Monty Lee just put out a commitment alert for South Carolina baseball, so there's another one coming. Parker Marlott is returning to South Carolina per John Whittle. Clemson picked up Catawba transfer right-hander Hayden Simerson. And we'll be back with SC Wild.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Showers while you sleep are likely. It'll be muggy. We'll have a low temperature of 69. Tomorrow, much like today, off and on showers, at least to start. We do clear out some in the afternoon. The high reaches 81. Friday looking better, a blend of sunshine and clouds. We're warmer. The high is 91. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
At Palmetto State Armory, we offer the largest selection of guns and ammunition at unbeatable prices. Our knowledgeable and friendly staff are here to provide personalized assistance, ensuring you find exactly what you need. If you enjoy outdoor activities like hunting, camping, or hiking, our clothing and outdoor gear collection has got you covered. We also feature an exceptional indoor range facility where you can experience the thrill of shooting in a safe and controlled environment. Visit us today at PalmettoStateArmory.com or your local retail store. Palmetto State Armory, American made for life.
The protection. Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, and the Russian leader told him very strongly that he will respond to Ukraine's weekend drone attack on Russian airfields. The conversation played out as the deadlock over the war drags on, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is dismissing Russia's ceasefire proposal. A federal judge has ordered the government to immediately halt deportation proceedings against the wife and 5 children of a man charged in the firebombing attack in Boulder, Colorado. U.S. District Judge Gordon P. Gallagher said the order Wednesday was urgently needed to ensure the protection of the family's constitutional rights. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 91 points, the Nasdaq rose 61, the S&P up a fraction. This is SRN News.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at HandJCattle.com or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle. Again, HandJCattle.com, where ethics meets quality.
This is Fran Halloran, the Money Coach. Grow with The Point as we build on 10 incredible years of community local radio. We built an environment where our listeners are our family. Are you a small business with big dreams? Join the tremendous stable of advertising partners at The Point. Connect with Kevin Cohen and brainstorm a tailored strategy to escalate your business growth using the powerful platform of The Point. Call Kev directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, you can make the next year your best year.
Columbia, we need to talk. Some of these local roofers are not so local anymore. A private equity firm just swooped in, bought out some of our local roofing companies. While some of their websites might still say hometown service, their bank accounts now headquartered half a country away. At Bergen Roofing, they don't answer to some out-of-state investors. They answer to you, our neighbors. Bergen is still the same trusted, family-owned business that's been serving Columbia for years. Not some corporate-controlled outfit where the profits come before the people. Some of these private equity guys are also charging cancellation fees, have multiple pages of fine print legalese. Bergen doesn't need a cancellation fee because their work, their reputation, it speaks for itself. No hidden fees, no fine print, just honest work from a team that's been here for decades. Bergen Roofing, where your home, your money, and your trust stay right here in Columbia. Call Bergen, your neighborhood roofer, today. Locally, not some corporate office in a big city skyscraper. 798-ROOF. That's 798-ROOF.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
It is the 1st of June. Time to welcome back Major Billy Downer to Sports Talk from the Department of Natural Resources. Another edition of SC Wild here on Sports Talk Media Network. Summer is here. Time to get outdoors and enjoy everything that we have to offer, Major.
Yes, it is. And we just made it on the show just in time.
Absolutely.
Folks, Phil got caught napping for a minute, asking questions, and then next thing you know, the show begins.
The show must go on. It waits for no one. Yes, sir.
It waits for no one.
Yeah,
that's correct.
How are things with you?
Things were good. We had a great Memorial Day weekend as far as fun on the Strip in Myrtle Beach. It was great. Working with a lot of our officers there for Bike Week. It was eventful in some days, but we all made it through safely. Everybody home, and we are focused on our fishing game activities again, particularly fishing this time of year. And I know we're going to be talking about fishing some. You want to talk about some fishing around the state right now. But, Memorial Day weekend, not sure that we had any fatalities boating, which is it was always good news.
Yep.
We're just starting that 100 days of the 100 deadliest days of summer, and we hope to go through the 100 deadly days with no fatalities. So that's always our goal. We will continue to strive toward that, and always encourage folks to be safe when they're out on the water, whether they're fishing or pleasure riding.
Absolutely. Let me give the phone number for anybody that wants to check in with you here with a comment or a question, because you're going to be talking about fishing with the summer months upon us. Everybody's going to want to get outdoors and drop a line or get out on the beach or into the ocean and pull in some big ones. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. Put you right in touch with the major if you have any questions about where to go or anything related to licenses, which is always an interesting topic when it comes to fishing licenses. And again, you can drop us a text message as well. That number is 803-900-4847. So I'll begin before we get into your guest and everything, like I was going to ask you right as we hit the air. So like I'm a simple Joe and I'm walking down a farm road somewhere and I want to drop a line into a pond to catch some bass or something. Am I breaking the law if I don't have a license?
So that's a great question, and one that people sometimes still don't understand. If you're in a private pond, like a farm pond, you're not required to have a fishing license, nor do limits apply in a private pond. So that's very a good question. Nor on a private pond do PFD requirements. Are they required on a private pond? Which unfortunately leads to some deaths on ponds where people flip a boat, a john boat, and they drown without a life jacket. But they're not required to have a life jacket on private ponds. Neither are you required to have a fishing license. Again, limits don't apply. So what determines if a pond is private? There's another great question. So private pond is one that someone owns all the land around it or part of the land around it. It's all privately owned. Your lakes or public waterways or navigable streams, you hear that word navigable all the time. People drop a line off a bridge on a road that crosses a stream. There are some times where roads cross private ponds, and that is still unable. You cannot fish there. It's still a private pond, even though the public roadway may go over it. So that causes some confusion sometimes. But a public waterway or a navigable stream is one that someone can fish on. Now, sometimes you will see signs on the road that say, no fishing from the bridge. Now, do all officers enforce that? Yes, they can. And the reason for the no fishing from bridge sign is typically because the roadway is not wide enough and it is dangerous for somebody to stand on the bridge and fish. Does that keep somebody from fishing? Absolutely not, especially if there's a fish there to be caught. Somebody's going to try to catch it. So those are things to look out for. Now, y'all were asking questions about fishing licenses, and I understand one of our producers here had a friend coming from out of state. So let's talk about fishing license fees. Not sure we've ever even talked about that on the show, but an annual fishing license in South Carolina is $10. I mean, it doesn't get any cheaper than that. It's less than $1 a month for $10, and that allows you to fish anywhere in the state. Now, when I started, we used to have what was called a cane pole license, and they did away with those. But when I started way back when, we even had cane pole licenses, and most of the time we didn't enforce somebody if they were fishing with a cane pole. If they had a rod and reel, we would enforce the fishing license. Now it's gone, and now it's just rod and reel. Your fishing license is $10 for in-state. It's very cheap. So if you're a resident, it's $10. There's a 3-year license, it's $30. Again, that's just $10 a year. Then the 14-day license, if you don't want to pay the $10 and you want to fish for 2 weeks, it's $5. If you're a non-resident, an annual fishing license is $35. And that's very cheap. I know some states where the annual fishing license for residents is twice that or more. Our 3-year license is $105, which is 3 times 35. And there's a 14-day license for non-residents. These are the 3 non-resident licenses, is $11. So if your friend's coming, he can buy a 14-day license for $11. That's what he can fish with. And he can go to any public lake, waterway, and fish with that license. Now, if you're fishing in salt water, so what's considered salt water? Well, salt water, it used to be they didn't require that on the surf when it first started. If you're fishing in salt water anywhere, that's from basically 17 east, Highway 17 east, you're in salt water. You're required to have a saltwater fishing license. even if you're on a pier, unless you're fishing on a pier that has pier permits. So that's something to keep in mind. But the saltwater fishing license is the rule there. So that's additional for residents, an additional $15 for a saltwater fishing license. Your freshwater fishing license, $10 does not cover saltwater. So those are things to keep in mind. Now, you can get a freshwater fishing license in combination with your hunting license for $25 a year for annual, or with your sportsman's license, which gives you the WMA permit, state hunting license, big game permit, and fishing license for $50. So those are your basically options for fishing in South Carolina. So saltwater, freshwater fishing, what are you looking to fish for? If you're fishing for brim, it doesn't matter what you're fishing for, brim, catfish, bass, doesn't matter, crappie, it doesn't matter, it's $10 for the year.
Good deal.
That answers the basic question. Again, private ponds, if it's a land owned by a person, not public water, it is, you don't have to have a license to fish there.
We have your guest standing by.
Well, let's get him on. We're going to invite on a good friend of mine, Lieutenant Daniel Baker. Daniel, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Daniel, I was asking you earlier, folks always want to know the update on Lake Murray. And even though you are not living on Lake Murray, I know you are a frequent flyer on Lake Murray. And since it's June 4th now, we're in what my great friend Lynn Woodkears, who I talked to today, bless his heart, said this is football season again. And it is football season on Lake Murray because the first 5 fish are what you keep. Tell me about what you know, Daniel, what you've been hearing, Daniel, on Lake Murray.
So Lake Murray right now is the five fish rule. It's you keep the first 5 that you catch. There's no size limit. They did away with the size limit in June, July, August, and through September. And basically to reduce the fish kill. Fishing's been good. The early bites on in midday. So, I mean, I think pretty much any time you can find them. 45 foot of water, it seems to be the magical number early. It goes out to 60 foot. And I tell a lot of people, they'll say, well, if there's only 2 of us in the boat on Lake Murray and we can only keep 10, what do you recommend? And I always tell everybody, if you mark a school of fish and the first one you catch is what I refer to as a little peanut, anything around a pound or what you would consider small.
That's not what you called it earlier.
We'll stick with peanut. I'd be ready.
I got him off his game, Phil. He's already stumbling.
You threw him a curve.
Yeah.
You threw him a curve.
I did. Yeah, so, Daniel, let's talk. Before you finish, let me interrupt you on one thing. The reason why we do the 5 fish limit is you said fish kill, and for some people may not understand what that means. What I understand from that, and Daniel, I know you're way bigger fisherman than I am as far as your knowledge, but because fish are so deep sometimes when they pull them up from the cooler water, whatever, that it basically, if you kill them up, that swim bladder blows and those fish essentially die if you put them back in the water. So people were catching and releasing. The releasing didn't work. The fish were dead when they released them.
That's right. And plus, a lot of these summertime fish will swallow the hook, different things like that, and the warmer water stresses them out. And so they're already starting to go into a stage of, stress. They swallow the hook, different things like that. They bunch up a lot more. It seems like, you would catch 4 or 5 less than 21 inches before you finally catch a keeper. And so everybody got together and found that worked, and it seems to be working. Never heard a complaint whatsoever. I mean, it's still the cut bait bite is really turned on. I mean, it's turned on well for people that want to anchor out and fish humps or points. The down rod bite's really good. It's my preferred method this time of year, and you can get in. If you find a school of fish, you can get in and get on the lake and get off before it gets hot, and be home in a really decent hour.
So I found like later in the summer even they're still catching stripers. Is that right?
Yes, they'll catch them all right on through the summer.
Right. And
those fish may go
typically,
out a
like you
little
said,
bit deeper.
Right.
Yeah, they'll once the water temperature right now is around 72, 73 degrees. Once it gets up, above 76 or so, they'll start getting a little deeper, especially once the sun gets up. But right now, I think the key bite somewhere around 45 foot, 60 foot of water. As the sun rises, if you're on a school of fish and you find them late morning and all of a sudden they leave, you may want to find out where's the nearest flat or hump around 60 foot to where you were, and you may relocate them.
All right. So the state record striped bass was caught in 2009. It's 82 pounds. What is the typical good fish on Lake Murray? I know we talked about the peanuts being you're basically they're probably 18, 19, 20 inches. Probably what?
Yeah,
2-3 pounds?
Peanut would be anything around 12, 10, 12, 14 inches. I call those, those are your schoolies or your smaller fish.
Yeah, don't call them what you call them. That's right. Good point.
Yeah, no. And but I would say your average striper on Lake Murray is going to be 4 to 6 pounds, which is on a scale. That's a really nice fish. It's going to put up a really good fight. It's good for adults and kids. Kids will love it. But you're also your bigger fish, you're going to have to target them. And this time of year, if you're out, taking your kids or your buddies fishing, the striper, if you figure 2 people in the boat and you keep 10 and your average fish is around 5 pounds, you've got a cooler full of impressive fish. You throw in your bonus 6 or 7, 8 pounder or 2 in there, and it's photo worthy. But your bigger stripers, a lot of times they'll go deep early on, or a little bit earlier. And
I got to correct something too.
Yep.
I got to correct something. I was incorrect, Phil. You can write this down.
Oh no.
The state record for striped bass is 63 pounds. The world record is 82 pounds. The state record was 63 pounds 4 ounces on Lake Russell, and that was
I would imagine.
Was in 2009. So I was a little off. I apologize for interrupting, Daniel. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But a lot of people, the appeal about Lake Murray is that you can, once June hits, you can keep 5 fish. You can, if you get up shallow and 20 foot of water, I'm not saying right now that there aren't good fish in 20 foot of water, but typically your better fish are going to stage up a little bit deeper. And but if you got a group of 4, you take, like, for instance, me and my wife and 3 kids. If we go to Lake Murray, there's 5 people in a boat. If we were to keep 25, which we normally would quit well before that, you would have more than enough, like, of a cooler full. And I always tell people that's the cool part about that lake is that you can always find them. If they're not on humps, they could be on flats. If they're not on the flats, check points. And when in doubt, get in the big water and drift. And you'll eventually find them. It's a really, really productive lake, especially this time of year.
Well, I know that everybody has their own opinions about what fish taste the best. Linwood loves rockfish, but he said that he loves the smaller ones because they taste better. So he doesn't mind going out and catching 5 and getting out because he said those 5 usually taste better than a really big one because they've got that really dark red line, and that just makes the meat taste different to him.
Yeah.
So
I believe that. A lot of people, in the upstate, we catch a lot of the hybrids, and the football, we refer to a football hybrid as anything between 3 and 5 pounds. And they fight really well. That's probably your best eating weight, somewhere between 3 and 5 pounds. 2 pounders, are good too. But we call them footballs. If you get a cooler of footballs, you've done really well. And
well, let me ask you this, because I know Phil's already thinking it before he asks it. What's your favorite way to cook striper?
Oh yeah.
But personally, I like to clean mine. I like to make sure.
Of course,
I like that. Well, when I say clean them, I like them. I like the red meat out. And I make sure the muscle on top of it, on the top and bottom where the fins are, that muscle is removed. And I'll soak mine in salt water and dump ice into it. and let it soak for 4 to 6 hours before I rinse it off and freeze it. But two ways I like mine: I like to blacken them and make like fish po' boy sandwiches, and I like to fry them.
Let me
and make fish tacos.
Let me ask you a quick question myself.
Yep.
Our resident sports talk fishing expert, Tiger Bryan, from up in Lancaster, he fancies himself as a championship level fisherman, bass fisherman, and so he talks about using worms for his favorite fishing bait. What's your favorite fishing bait when you're fishing for, let's say, bass? What bait do you prefer, and why?
Personally, I like fishing with a Carolina rig for bass. Striper, I'm a downright guy. When the herring spawn is on the lakes, I like throwing a lead head fluke and any kind of a smaller swim bait. Those would be if I had to have a tackle box with 3 lures in it, that would be them.
Do you make your own lures, or do you purchase them?
No, I purchase.
You purchase, okay.
Yep.
Major, you
He's
make your
good.
own lures?
Oh, no, sir. No. And if there was going to be somebody that was going to make his own lure, you're probably talking to him right now.
Yeah.
Not me, but
Yeah.
Daniel. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good. He's like the fish whisperer. He's the one that people call when they want to take someone to fish. Well, call Daniel. He'll take them.
Yep.
Daniel, before we get off tonight, and thank you for joining us, talk about we were talking about crappie for a minute. I know the crappie bite is probably slowing down now. You were saying crappie are moving off your brush piles now.
Yeah, it's postponed. Last month you could still catch them, and there's folks still catching a few trolling, but mostly right now they've moved postpone out a little deeper on structure, brush piles, dock ends, things like that. The water temperature with all the rain that we've had has kept it a little bit cooler, so they're not as deep as they normally would be if you had like a really hot June or May, and but the brush piles seem to be where a lot of folks are catching them, that in treetops, stump piles, things like that.
Okay. How about flatfish on Lake Murray? I'm surprised constantly by people who catch really nice shell cracker on Lake Murray.
Yeah. All your lakes now, the shell cracker, if you can find a flat adjacent to where the bedding area is, 8 to 10 foot of water, a lot of people will anchor out just like they would for catfish or whatnot, throw red worms on the bottom, and they're catching some really impressive shell cracker.
So
I think
you and I've talked
about every lake.
You've talked about this too. You talk about hybrids, and when people hear hybrids, some people don't understand a hybrid striper is a cross between a striped bass and a white bass.
That's right.
You and I have talked about this a lot. I'm still wanting to find that white bass hole in your area, but it's so rare for folks to see white bass on Lake Marion anymore because they're just about gone. There's still areas where there are white bass in your area?
Yeah. Saluda River off of Lake Greenwood will have them. They'll come up the river, and you've got a window there. It's just a couple of weeks, and then it seems like they learn how to disappear. I don't know where they go, what they do, but when they're there, you can really catch them, and it's a lot of fun.
And what time of year do white bass run in the river then?
Normally late March, early April, through the month of April, somewhere around there, depending on water, temperature, and weather.
Okay.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
May I ask Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Are there any places in South Carolina, this is probably an ignorant question, so Major Downer, don't laugh at me. Are there any places in South Carolina where it's good for fly fishing?
Oh, absolutely.
That's actually not a dumb question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, that's a great question. A lot of your private ponds, fly fishing for like your brim and things like that are great. But in the upstate, you have a lot of your trout streams that are stocked. You get up in the upper end of Spartanburg, Greenville, Pickens, Oconee area. There's a lot of streams there that they're stock trout that are
so
great
they're what,
for fly
about 12
fishing.
inches, maybe 10, 12 inches at the most?
12, and then some people will catch them upwards, 15 plus inches. I mean, you'll have some really good fish at times get caught.
But Phil, I will also tell you that the Saluda River up toward the dam, a lot of folks fly fish there for smallmouth bass. That's a really popular fish that people use fly rods for, smallmouth bass.
Have you guys have the two of you mastered the art of fly fishing?
I have been to Alaska one time, and I have, or actually twice, but I've fly fished once there. Incredible experience fishing for rainbow trout. A lot of fun. Didn't take long to master that. The kind of the casting method. So it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and we did it. Wading, not out of a boat.
Yeah,
a little bit in a boat, but we also waded some on points. But it's not as hard as it may look, and it is a lot of fun. So I can see the attraction toward that style and technique instead of just casting.
How about you, Daniel?
I bought a fly rod once, used it in like private ponds with a little popping bug is what we called them. Catching bass and brim, but yeah, I've never been much of a expert fly fisherman by any means. I'm more of a bait caster and spinning rod type guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and on the coast, Phil, a lot of folks have gotten into fly fishing for reds. That's very popular on the coast. People fly fishing in the flats for reds because you can float that fly in really shallow water and areas and flip it into areas to get to your redfish. But Daniel, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate you taking the jabs.
Great stuff.
And all the information.
Hey, sounds like a good group. We should all get together and go fishing sometime.
We can do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when.
Phil, all right. Well, thanks again, Phil. I know we're getting close to the end
Yes, sir.
For the show tonight, but we'll get back together mid-month and kind of get a game plan together, looking at the midsummer boating safety tips. And again, if you're going out there fishing, make sure to take a life jacket with you. Make sure you let some folks know where you're going and when you plan to return, so that if you don't, people know when to start looking. Again, always tell them the landing you're putting in at, a great plan to let people know where you're putting in at, so we know to look to make sure you've gotten back. But again, I hope folks have a good week, next 2 weeks. I hope you have some fun fishing in South Carolina.
Great stuff, Major. We thank you so much. Talk to you in a couple of weeks. Major Billy Downer, Department of Natural Resources, SC Wild, here on Sports Talk. And thank you, Daniel Baker, for being with us as well. That was awesome. I wouldn't mind going fly fishing. Probably couldn't catch anything, but it'd be I could see me pulling in about a big old trout, about 2 feet long or whatever. I don't know. How do you measure them? That'll do it. We'll pick it up tomorrow night. We'll see you then.